stand by what I believe in. And that was very, very important from the very, very early stages of my life. So there was a point when my father said, do medicine. And I said, you asked me to do what I believe in. And that's when my father said, do what you believe in. So it's all about creating value and trust. Also being able to hear what people want, sometimes even understanding what they want before they even speak. What really helped me to understand was adaptability. That change is the only constant in your life. It's a journey with the people that makes it more beautiful as a leader than seeing what are you going to achieve at the end. Reinvention is about taking your own personal journey in a perhaps better way. When the intent is right, and when you're focused on what you want to really, deliver, and you do it with all your heart, there's nothing stopping you. Forgiveness is really the key here. Otherwise, there's no other way that you can actually regain your calm. Every little setback, every little achievement over the years helps you to do what your heart seeks.
Hi, Radhika, and welcome to the About Her Show, a show where we get trailblazing women to share the story of their lives with us. To tell us about their successes, failures, ups and downs, challenges, everything, so that not only do they get a platform to showcase themselves, but they also help us inspire other women. Women at different stages of life with dreams, ambitions, aspirations, but something holding them back. So we want them to listen to these stories, look at these women, look at their work, and get inspired and go follow their dreams. And then, along with women, we also get men on the show, men who champion such trailblazing women, because we believe that for a truly gender inclusive world, men and women need to be allies. Now, I've known you for a very long time, and I have known you as a very dynamic and a very enterprising woman. And looking at your journey and the kind of things that you have done, I mean, I did not know the details earlier, but now that I do, I realize that my impression about you was bang on. You're indeed extremely dynamic, very enterprising, very, out there. And I think that is something which a lot of people, not only women, they don't have. And that probably, tells us a lot about how and why you made the various transitions in your life, how and why you are where you are today. So, definitely, we need to know more about this. So, once again, a very, very warm welcome to you.
Thank you, Sangeeta. And I'm really excited to be here. I've been following your podcast for like many, many, many years, well, a few years now. And it's been always so inspiring to see, the people that you talk to, the women from all walks of life. And of course, I've nudged you once or twice that, how about you and I having a little chat? And you've always encouraged me. And I'm glad that I'm here finally to talk to you and, yeah, discuss the journey that we've had. I've had, a part of it which you're aware of. And then, yes, of course, tell you more about myself and what has brought me to be what I am today. Yes.
Wonderful. So, there we go. So, of course, we'll initially talk about, the early influences because I feel that, the way a child is raised, the environment in which we grow up, that has a very, very critical role to play in the way our personalities shape up and, in the kind of people we become. So, my question is, if you could take us back to your early years, I mean, what kind of childhood shaped you and what early influences quietly laid the foundation for who you are today?
All right. So, when I think of my childhood, of course, immediately I think of my father. Not taking away the role that my mom's played in my life. My mother is my fulcrum at the moment. I mean, I live for her. But my father has really influenced and shaped what I am today. My father was someone who never told me what is right or wrong, who always said, believe in what you're doing. He always said, speak for yourself and stand for your belief. If you want to make an opinion, don't hold yourself back. It wasn't about whether you're saying the right thing or whether you're saying the wrong thing. It's about saying what you feel and you stand by it. And I think that has been that really, really helped me carve my journey as I grew along, because it was about what I felt and the opinion that I had. Not that I wanted to ever offend anybody,
Mm-hmm.
but being able to stand by what I believe in. And that was very, very important from the very, very early stages of my life. My dad was very, very, he went to he was from the merchant navy, so he'd had a very a background where he had traveled extensively, met all kinds of people. So he would talk to me so much about his days at merchant navy, and that really stayed with me in terms of coming from a small little town of Rohtak where he was born. Like literally a village those days, and then how he went on to being a chief engineer in the merchant navy, and the amount he traveled. He would actually show me letters of some of his girlfriends. Somebody
Wow.
sitting in, Austria, somebody sitting in Denmark, and he would say, Radhika, I had this kind of a relationship with this woman, and I had, it was very, very, very actually very engaging, and it was something that, oh my God, my dad is actually telling me about his little girlfriends that he had while he was sailing, and then how he met my mom. So yes, that whole thing was about being just fair to yourself and being truthful to yourself, and
Correct.
that was very, very important. And also, what really helped me in my formative years was the fact that I went to a boarding when I was all of 12. I went to Sophia School, Ajmer, and from there I even graduated to Sophia College in Ajmer. So that again was a fantastic kind of an upbringing in terms of being emotionally grounded with what my father had actually, played a very important role.
Mhm.
And then coming to this place where you suddenly had to be responsible for all that you did, having your independence, yet being in a bit of a structure and being able to take the right decisions then as well. Coming out of your comfort zone and then being in a boarding. So that really helped to become far more in terms of your approach to life, to weighing the pros and cons. So I think that definitely played a very important role. Being in a boarding from the age of 12, and actually from the age of 12, I was away from home till I. And
Okay.
then I really, when I even got married, I was away from home. Yeah. So from the age of 12, I was away from home, only coming home during my holidays. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I think very interesting because when parents teach their children, or rather lead by example when it comes to communication and being open about it, that teaches the child that yes, you can share anything and everything. You can believe in things, you can share, and gives a lot of confidence and courage. And the
Absolutely.
fact that you went to a boarding school obviously means that you became independent at a very young age. And so all of that together, no wonder you are enterprising, so forthcoming, and so wanting to try out new things because you do have that, that huge element of self belief. You have the confidence, you have the courage, which is a direct result of the way you were raised.
Yeah, I'm just going to add one quick
Yeah.
thing over here. When I graduated, okay, so all right, so my father also had these dreams about me, my father more, that I should be a doctor.
Okay.
And while I was a science student in school and college, it really wasn't my favorite subject. I mean, I did pretty well in school, but college was a bit of a struggle in terms of, getting the dynamics right about physics and but my father had this thing about me being a doctor. So to really make sure that okay, I do not go against the fact that he was hoping that I'd become a doctor, I did write a PM, the pre-medical exam. They used to be called those
Yeah.
PMT exams, and I failed. All right,
Okay.
I failed in one of the subjects, and I could not clear the exam. And
Hmm.
then my father said, Radhika, please attempt once more.
Hmm.
And that's when I had a chat with my dad. I said, Papa, you always told me stand with for what you believe, stand in terms of what you really want to do, and today I'm telling you I am not meant to be a doctor, so do
Hmm.
not please ask me to write an exam again. I
Okay.
tried, and it's not that I did not, I put my heart and effort in that exam, but I did not succeed. So it wasn't that the effort was lacking, but something just did not
Hmm.
go
Hmm.
right.
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
don't push me to do this. let me explore something different. And my father said, what do you want to do now? You've done your schooling in science, you've done your college science, and after which what? I said, Dad, I don't mind, writing an exam for MA literature. He said, are
Okay.
you crazy? I mean, are you sure? I said, just let me do it. Sangeeta, I studied for 1 month a subject which was completely new to me. There was no
Mm-hmm.
literature, and I passed to get, admission at the Jaipur College. But
Mm-hmm.
by then, of course, I'd also, applied for Indian Institute of Mass Communication, and that, of course, changed my entire,
Yeah,
journey. But
yeah,
I'm just telling you, so there was a point when my father said, "Do medicine," and I said, "You asked me to do what I believe in," and
yeah.
that's when my father said, "Do what you believe in." Yeah, so that's
Wow.
another thing.
Wow.
Yes, yes, yes,
So I
yeah,
think a huge lesson for parents out there, letting
yes,
your child take ownership, decide for themselves, and take ownership of their decisions. All
absolutely.
right. So then, of course, you moved on and you began your career with the Hyatt Group at a time when the hospitality industry was still evolving, as far as India is concerned. So tell me, what drew you to this space and what did those early years teach you?
Okay, so that's an interesting thing that how I actually what drew me to hospitality.
Mm,
So here there is I definitely want to make a mention because after my college I came and did my mass communication here in Delhi.
mhm.
My parents that time were living in Gwalior. My
Okay.
father was in a job in Gwalior, and I came in to live with my nani and with my mama, mami in South Extension. My mama, and I'd really like to make a mention because there was an influence which really helped me also understand what I want to do.
Mm,
He's of course no more now, but he was at his time a leading journalist, international journalist on South Africa.
okay.
Yeah, he was like a specialist in South Africa, and he used to travel all the time as part of the Prime Minister's delegation
Mhm.
to South Africa. So much so that Nelson Mandela and my uncle were like best of friends.
Oh,
My
wow.
mama,
Wow.
yeah, Harisharan Chabra. So I came to study I lived with my mama mami for almost about 6 years, and I did my mass communication while living with them because that's where also my nani was.
Mm,
And my mama used to throw these really fancy parties at home every second weekend with the diplomatic corps. And
okay.
you had all the ambassadors and the high commissioners, come to our house, and I used to observe all the time the way my uncle would interact with them, how my aunt would greet them, meet them, how the table was laid, what kind of food was served, minding your P's and Q's with these kind of people. And from there onwards, that whole thing about hospitality kind of seeped in because I used to see and I realized that within 2 3 parties that I was part of, my mama would actually put me forward to make me meet these ambassadors, and to address them as your excellency, and to and
Yeah, yeah.
it was very, I was just so impressed, and I would make some conversations, sometimes silly conversations as well. And then my uncle would tell me about, a little bit about world affairs. And so from there, I think this whole thing about hospitality kind of, seeped in. And when I did my internship in mass communication, which was the defining time whether I wanted to do journalism or PR,
Mm,
I chose to do internship at the public relations of the Taj hotels.
okay.
And there is when I decided that hotels is where I want to be. The just the energy of the large spaces of the hotels, the people, the interaction, people from various diverse, walks of life.
Right.
That's what really drew me to hospitality, and I decided that I'm going to make a career in hotels.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So then, of course, with your move into sales and marketing, because I understand that's what you did. So, what did you discover about yourself? I mean, when it came to communication, relationships, and understanding people, because I see from what I have interacted with you that you're very good at it. When it comes to communication, when it comes to being with people, forming relationships, maintaining relationships, understanding people, you're actually very, very good. And that's probably why you're, now ventured out into so many other things. So tell me, what was it like? I mean, what did it make you discover about yourself?
That is so flattering, Sangeeta.
But
You're
it's
really,
true.
you're really putting me on a pedestal, and I feel
But
so
it's true.
flattered. But all right, so first thing that you actually learn in hotels is that okay. Another thing here I want to add is that my first instinct in the hotels for 2 months was at the Oberoi hotels, where I was working at the reception,
Okay.
handing over keys, okay, after doing my mass communication. And I was like, all right, even this is a stepping stone. You've done your mass communication from the most prestigious institute, which is IIMC, which is now at the JNU campus.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're standing here at the Oberoi hotels handing over keys. And that also was such a learning, because I realized that I was at the reception desk, the first point of contact when the guest walked in. And anybody at the reception desk, not only, I mean, the whole team was really setting the tone for the experience the customer or the guest would have when
Right.
they arrive at the hotel, because you are there handing over the first, key to them in the, for their room. So from there, the journey of public relations and then moving into sales and marketing was all about building trust, building value, and building a relationship.
Hmm.
We were not selling a product, we were selling a service. Hotels is all about an experience, about a service, about making person feel comfortable, gaining the trust and the value that they've come, long distance, they've spent a fortune to be here,
Mm.
and they're looking at comfort, they're looking at value for money, they're looking at peace, they're looking at safety. So sales and marketing was all about really gaining trust and building value, and that's what really set the tone in terms of what are you selling.
Hmm.
You're not selling a product, you're selling a service to make people feel comfortable, for people to trust you in what they're going to bring to the table. And that also helps in building long lasting relationships. It's all about creating value and trust. Also, being able to hear what people want, sometimes even understanding what they want before they even speak, and trying to gauge as to what they're looking for. So,
Right.
that definitely has been a very, very positive outcome of being in sales and marketing.
Wow. Wow. All right. And then you moved to Dubai, right? So your stint in Dubai, it marked a significant shift. So tell me, what did that phase of your life teach you about independence, adaptability, and leading at scale?
So Dubai happened because, of course, Rajiv, moved with a job in Dubai, and those were those young days. I was our older one was just about 2 years old. Rishabh was only 2 years old that time when we moved to Dubai, and of course, it was very exciting. That you're moving to an international country, and Dubai was. I mean, those in those days seen as okay, the Mecca, of the Middle East. I mean, it still is. Dubai is beautiful, and it was an interesting move because you were actually now moving away from your familiar comfort zone into a new geography, into a place where you were pretty much going to be on your own,
Right.
newer people, again diverse cultures. You didn't have a driving license. You had to, oh my God, I still remember that part where you had to go through some 15, 20, 30 tests to get a license. And I mean, it was challenging. I'm just remembering those days. And the fact that the child was so young, and I also was leaving work, where I'd already started, I mean, built a career with the Hyatt and the Oberoi hotels. And now I was also moving to a newer country. And I was like, I need to get back to work as well. So,
Mhm.
so it was a very mixed emotion. But what really helped me to understand was adaptability,
Right.
that change is the only constant in your life.
Mhm.
And the more you adapt to change and learn to take change in your stride, is something that is help it helps on a daily basis. Change, a constant thing is a change. And that's when I decided that I'm not going to let myself get bogged down, even though I'm in a new city. I don't have any help at home, but I need to make sure that I'm back at work. And Sangeeta, it was just I think, when your intention is right and when you're manifesting it right, and you want to do it, within literally 3 months of arriving in Dubai, I was working with the Hyatt Hotel all over again.
Wow. Wow.
And I was part of the sales and marketing team. They were actually a little strict, saying that, they would only take people either from international markets or somebody who actually spoke the language in Arabic.
Hmm.
And when I say international markets, they were actually talking of Europeans. There was a bit of a divide there. But the general manager, again, it was meant to be. The general manager at the Hyatt that time was the general manager when I was at the Hyatt in Delhi.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
he had worked with me. He knew me and what I could bring to the table. So he did not hesitate to give me a job and said, welcome, welcome home,
Hmm.
and and that's how I was back at work at the Hyatt in Dubai. It was just a very beautiful experience. The whole adapting yourself to the new culture,
Right.
understanding, because there were lots of do's and don'ts of how you were talking to the local people, but it was a great learning, an absolutely wonderful learning, and that was a very, very happy stint. Yeah, yeah, it gave me a lot of international exposure, which also was very, very important at that point in time. Yeah.
And you were leading a team. So,
I was
how
leading
did
a
you
team.
assess?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll add a bit here. The Hyatt had a program called the Club at the Hyatt, which was a dining program. That's actually one of the international programs that they run at all Hyatt hotels. And I was initially, when I joined, I was part of the team, who was selling these club memberships. And I used to observe this company called Hotel Dynamics from Australia, which was leading the whole program. And that they were actually managing the entire profitability, and we were about a team of 30 people who were selling these memberships. And I used to sometimes wonder that what is it that they're doing different that I haven't done in the past. So one fine day, I walked into the GM's office and I said, I want to propose a program where I want you to actually say bye bye to Hotel Dynamics from Australia,
Hmm.
and why don't you run the program in house? He says, Radhika, we've been doing this for the last 7, 8 years, and we've never had something like this. You've just kind of come in and you're telling me that you'll run the program. I said, I want you to trust me. I will run the program, and you see what profitability I'll give you. I think the general manager also went by his instinct and he says, let's do it. The next thing I knew, Sangeeta, that I had been brought onto the roles as a sponsorship of the hotel, because if I had to be working on a program like that, I had to be their full-time employee.
Of course.
And I was running the Club at the Hyatt program,
Wow.
managing a team of 50 women. And for the first time, uh, the profitability was at another level, because they were not paying that kind of an international fee to that company from Australia. And
Hmm. Hmm.
I was on a salary, and of course there was a little bit of an incentive program, but I was an in-house employee of the
Right.
of the company. So yeah, driving the team, to do that kind of work was very, very exciting. Again, a team which had people from all walks of life and diverse cultures.
So I'm not surprised that the program did well because obviously, for you to, have the courage, again, the confidence to walk up to the GM and say that I can take ownership and then take that program to a logical conclusion is so radical. How is it that it is not going to happen? Okay. So as you mentioned, you were leading a team of 50 women and all that. And of course, when you're at that senior a role, you are leading people. And so, of course, you had multi-city operations, large teams. So tell me, what kind of a leader were you then? And how has your leadership style evolved over time? Because now also, in the various things that you're doing, you are leading people. So how has that happened?
Initially, yes, when I had a large team, the focus was all about results and outcome.
Hmm.
Okay, in a very, very structured manner, and uh, because there was a challenge that had taken over, I had to also prove the fact that I've had the management move from a company which had been doing this program so well. And I had to prove the fact that yes, I'll bring the profitability. So that point in time, the leadership style really, I mean, yes, and I guess over the years you learn, you
Yes.
emerge, and you evolve. Was primarily result driven. Okay, in terms of what is the end result, what is the we've got to get these many numbers. This is the way we've got to do it. It's a very structured way. And while I was told that yes, it's good fun working with Radhika, but Radhika also has comes with her own dimension of um, it's her way or the highway. Okay, so
Okay.
so and I realized that over a period of time, that's not the way it is meant to be. As you grow, you've got to understand that all the people that you work with also come with their own, with their own positives. Some have their own, I'm not going to use the word negative, but they come with their own, biases. And everyone is here as a team. And I think that's where I realized that, the shift has to happen when you start empowering your people that you work with, to be part of the journey and let the journey really be a defining process rather than the end result.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that is very important. That is very important. And I think that is where over the years, as you grow and you meet and you talk and you see other leaders, and when you realize that a good leader is about empowering the team, and having the team play a very, very important role in terms of also taking decisions,
Yes.
and giving them the space to work the way they feel is right, because everybody brings, it's a pool
Yeah.
that they
Yeah.
all contribute to. So the shift really over the years began from being more result oriented, uh, and then to the fact that it's a journey with the people that makes it more beautiful as a leader than seeing what are you going to achieve at the end. Of course, there is a goal. There is a
Yeah.
goal
Yeah.
that we
Of
all have. We can't kind of move away from the goal. But the fact is that it's about empowering the people that you work with, which makes it very, very important in terms of being a good leader. Yeah.
That I think is that it shows the evolution and the maturity of thinking. Because yes,
Yes.
when you are young and you want to make an impact, you want to be out there, you are, result driven and all of that. But over a period of time, you do mature. But I think the important thing here is that you're open to accepting that my way or the highway is not
Is
the way to be. Many
absolutely,
people may struggle with this, but the fact that you
absolutely.
accepted that, yes, I have to take my people with me and I have to empower them, that I think speaks volumes about your, adaptability and about accepting change as what we spoke about earlier, right?
Yeah, and also, Sangeeta, what happens is that as you're growing, even your home environment is changing.
Yes, yes.
The children are growing, right? Okay, so there was a time when you could tell your son, do it, you
Mm,
know,
mm, mm.
and there was no two ways about it.
Right.
And as you grow and the kids grow, they also then, they also have their own opinion. They also say,
Absolutely.
no, mom, I'm sorry, that's not happening,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you realize that it cannot be. It is not like that. It's an ever growing shift, and you have to go with the shift. You have
Yes,
to evolve with the surroundings which are around you. And that's really makes it positive impact. Yeah.
absolutely. And then, of course, your transition to Kankei and the world of brand alliances. So that was, again, a bold move. Now, tell me what prompted that shift and what uncertainties did you have to navigate?
So the shift to Kankei, which was completely in the space of direct marketing, a role that really I hadn't done at all from hospitality, because the company Kankei initially was a direct marketing company running BPOs and alliances and partnerships, and a lot of e-commerce work. And so yeah, okay. So one thing which really led me to also do the shift is. My younger one, Raghav, was born in 2000. And I did realize that hospitality was also very demanding in terms of time. Okay.
Right,
So,
right,
yes, there was a time when I sat back, I paused a bit, I reflected on reprioritizing my life as to what is it that I really want to do at this point in time, given the fact that, there is a baby that has come in. And it was a planned baby. So it wasn't that it was not a planned baby, it was a thought through baby. So clearly, when I've decided that, okay, there is another baby that is there, and the older one was 6 by then, Rishabh. And I think that's the time when I said, okay, it's perhaps time to reflect and make a change in terms of the fact that I want to be able to give time to
Yeah.
Raghav and also be able to, you know, manage my work. So, and that's when I decided to shift from hospitality.
Okay.
And I moved to Kankei, so which initially was actually meant to be a part-time work.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of agreed with me because I said, okay, fine, I'll have some time at home and I'll have time at work, and then we will take it from there. Um, the fact that I was ready to take a challenge of a new job was again, from the perspective that I always wanted to learn, that ever evolving, always wanting to learn something, curious to know something more. Um, I'm always game to, explore. So that's the feeling that it came from, and that's when I decided to join Kankei. It was very different. It was new, a completely new culture. The office was out of Bombay. I was setting up an office in Delhi for them, but I had again a fantastic team who supported me hugely. And, before I could even say Jack Robinson, within 6 months, I was a full-time employee there.
Wow.
Because by
Wow.
then I'd probably also figured ways to manage Raghav with, with support from family and help. And I was back at work, and alliances and partnership was a fantastic space, a new learning
Mm-hmm.
where I was doing a division called brand barters, and I was heading that, where we were actually again doing some alliances with credit card companies, with banks. It was a very varied field, but I adapted to it very quickly. At the helm of the affairs again was the CEO and the managing director who knew me at a personal level earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and so they also gave me a lot of freedom to understand the whole process, and it just happened.
Am I surprised? Not surprised, not at all. I mean, of course, you had to do it. And, I just love the way you are, just telling women, telling people that how you adapt with change. Circumstances will change in life. We have no control over them. And we cannot keep lamenting over this fact that circumstances are changing. I mean, what do I do? Rather than sitting and just kind of moping over it, are showing us, you are telling us that you need to take charge of the situation, change, adapt with times, and move on. Fantastic, Radhika. That's really fantastic. Okay. And then came the year 2015 when you chose to carve your own independent path. So, change once again. So tell me, what did reinvention look like for you at that stage of life?
If I sum it up in actually just two lines, reinvention at that point in time was not starting something new,
Okay.
but starting something wiser.
All right. Okay.
It's about wanting to do something which is true to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and being a part of you, and doing it better.
Correct.
Okay, so it wasn't that I shifted gears completely and I said, no, this is something completely new. It's about again, reflecting on what you are as a human being, your own personality, and how could you do it better. So really, to my mind, reinvention is about taking your own personal journey in a perhaps better way. It's something, to learn more. It's not about something to do completely different.
Correct.
I mean, I look at reinvention more from that perspective, that how can you do it even better than what you were doing earlier.
Right.
So when I said I was on my own from 2015 and I became a consultant, I was actually doing the similar work that I was doing as I was heading alliances and partnership at Kankei with brand barters, but now I was doing it on my own.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I was a single person company We set up a company. My husband and I set up a company for me, and I decided to take tasks from some of the clients who were already with Kankei earlier, but because they had so much of a comfort zone of working with me, they were
Right.
happy to even work with me as an independent consultant.
Wow.
The only thing that I decided to do that time was that I decided to be a little choosy in what I was going to do,
Okay.
not just everything.
Correct.
Okay. And so because here I was also on my own, and
Hmm.
I couldn't just put my fingers in every pie. I had to be, I had to be a little limited in terms of what best I could do as long as I was doing it right.
Right.
And and that gave me a huge sense of achievement, Sangeeta. I mean, being on my own, yet keeping my pace going, yet delivering value to the clients, uh, not really scrambling so much for work and being under pressure all the time, and maintaining a balance which was both growth and emotional well-being. And
Right.
I think that was very, very interesting. I really enjoyed that stint for almost about, between 2015 to 2018 is what I was doing. And it kept me connected with my core of PR, sales and marketing, people, connections, and also delivering value to my own growth. Yeah.
Wow. So, my takeaway from what you said is that over a period of time, as you grow and evolve in life, you are very clearly able to identify your strengths and weaknesses.
Exactly. Your
And the
cause.
smart thing to do is to build on those,
That,
not
yes.
run after things which are not meant for you. Accept that this is not my cup of tea. It's okay. I mean, everybody cannot do everything. So
Yes.
focus on what you can do and build on that.
Yes.
Great insight. Great insight. All right. And then came something which is so dear to both of us, and that's the world of Sattika, your sari brand. Now, this is such a personal and creative expression. So tell me, what was that moment or emotion that inspired you to turn your love for saris into a brand?
You've already used the word emotion. So for me, Satika is really emotion.
Okay.
Okay. Saris, I got introduced to saris way back in when I was all of 19.
Hmm,
When
hmm,
I started my, job with the Oberoi, when I was an intern there for 2 months, and then I moved to the Hyatt. Those days, Sangeeta, saris was a uniform,
hmm,
okay,
hmm.
in the hotels, right? I mean, way back. Now, of course, you've got sari. People at hotels wear saris and they wear dressings, they wear pants and suits and jackets. But sari was like the uniform those days.
Right.
And I remember the first time I tied a sari, and I was told that at the reception, especially at the Oberoi, because that was part of a training, you had to pin the sari. You had
Hmm,
to make the
hmm.
pleat and pin the sari here on the shoulder, and also the pleats that you tuck in, you had to pin them. And I found that most uncomfortable. And I'm like, I don't want to pin. I remember going to the training manager and said, if I stay with my sari without the palla falling, because that's the way the uniform is meant to be,
Hmm,
would you still insist that I pin it? She's
hmm.
saying as long as it doesn't fall, because you're not supposed to be handing over the keys with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
palla falling and you're adjusting your sari, and that's not happening. That's not Oberoi hotels. That's not the training standard. And I said I've understood and let it be. That was the time when I decided that sari is my natural drape, is my
Hmm,
natural, clothing.
hmm.
Whenever I would see anybody in a sari, I would just envision in my mind the flow of the palla, the caress of the fabric on the skin,
Wow.
the pleats, and I would just draw an image. For me, it was like poetry.
Hmm,
Honestly, honestly, it was like poetry. I would just visualize and imagine a sari being like that. And nothing came even closer to that in terms of the clothing.
hmm, hmm.
And and that just always stayed with me.
Wow.
That just always stayed with me. So my love for saris actually started then. And as we moved forward, I mean, I just made sari a pretty much a staple thing in my wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
Picking a sari from my nani's cupboard, picking a sari from my mommy's cupboard when I used to live with them. So yeah. And when Sattika happened, so there's a little bit of a history. I'm not don't I don't want to take too much time on that, but I want to just definitely say that what really inspired me. I was in an exhibition in 2018 where a friend of mine who does these most stunning juttis was exhibiting.
Mm,
This was at the Taj Mansingh, and she asked me to come and help her. Radhika, come and help me with my juttis. And I said, oh, I would love to do that. And I was wearing a sari that morning,
mm,
for that. I really went dressed. I said, it's a Taj and I want to wear sari. And she even told me, Radhika, it's going to be very uncomfortable for you because you have to be helping with the juttis,
mm.
picking, taking, dropping,
Yeah.
putting it down. I said, I'm fine with it. We had the most amazing experience. We did the most amazing sales. There was this gentleman in a stall right next to us who was selling these most stunning tussar saris.
Okay.
And unfortunately, he was not able to get the people to come to his stall
Oh,
for
okay.
whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And he was observing me for a very long time. I could sense that, every time I turned there, he was just there. When we were packing up, he actually came to me and he wasn't able to speak so much in English. And he said, आपसे एक बात करनी है मैम एंड आई सेड हाँ बोलिए ही
Mm,
सेड हम आपको सुबह से देख रहे हैं
mm,
ये आपका खुद का ब्रांड है सो आई सेड ऑलमोस्ट मेरा ही ब्रांड है मेरी फ्रेंड का है सो ये मेरा ही है
mm,
इसे और आप साड़ी पहन के इतना कंफर्टेबली ये सब काम कर रहे हैं हाउ आई सेड वेल या इसे हमारा ये टसर साड़ीज का ब्रांड है एंड मैं आपको सुबह से देख रहा हूँ आप नोबडी हैज वॉक पास्ट योर स्टॉल
mm,
without you not making a sale of that,
mm.
of the jutti.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
effortlessly, so comfortably you're doing it. How have you managed to do that?
Mm.
So I said, I'm a salesperson. I don't let anything go by. And here I said I was not selling a product. I was selling a lifestyle experience. I'm selling comfort. I'm selling style. I'm selling pretty things. So it's like that. He says, "Will you sell sarees with me?" He said.
Okay.
I said, "Excuse me, how does it work?" He says, "आप अगर आप में trust करते हैं, just give me your address and I want to come and meet you." Sangeeta, the next morning, this gentleman came with about 100 saris and
Wow.
he said, please partner with me and help me promote my saris.
Oh, okay. 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 Interesting.
And Satika was born with that intent.
Wow. That I didn't know. That's so
Yes,
that explains your foray into tussar and the beautiful tussars that you managed
yes,
to source
yes.
and make them
So,
available
I
for us.
mean, what are the chances that
Yes.
somebody comes to you and says, will you help us? And that really that was how Satika was born.
Wow. But you see, this is what it is, whether it's, how should I say, a divine intervention. If you're meant to do something, then as they say, it will find its way to come to you, and which is exactly what happened with you, right?
And from there, and I remember, I draped that first tussar when he brought to me, and it was just such a comfortable drape. It just felt so well. The pleats, the color, the sheen, the fabric, and I'm like, this has to go to as many people possible.
Well, it is.
Really. And that's how. So I've actually given you a very, very candid
Yes,
insight
yes.
as to, but yeah, I want to share that because, yeah, not, it happened. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So dwelling further on this, now you built Satika entirely on your own, right? So, what has this journey taught you about self belief, resilience, and showing up for your own vision?
Yes. So I'm a one man army, yeah, in Satika. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. Um, so there's a creative angle to it, of of the sari, the creativity of how to even, put it across to people, how to talk about it. Um, and then there is a fact that there's a business angle to it as well, right? So because you've started a business of, promoting hand woven saris. So it's a beautiful combination when there is intent of, sticking to what you really believe in, that you
Hmm.
believe in the garment itself and what it can bring to people, what it can do to the ladies, and the fact that, you also want to make this as an ongoing sustainable business for yourself. so that you're also empowering the weavers and the artisans with whom you're working and making sure that there's a regular flow of the whole business movement. So what I've really learned from here, and has been a really great insight, is that when the intent is right, and when you're focused on what you want to really deliver, and you do it with all your heart, there's nothing stopping you.
Yes.
There's absolutely nothing stopping you. There are challenges, Sangeeta. There are challenges. I mean, because I'm the one who also sources the sari. I'm the one who also models them.
Yes.
I'm the one who puts them out on Instagram Reels. I'm the one who single-handedly does exhibitions. I'm the one who also does the couriers. I'm the one who does the labeling. I mean, the whole thing.
Mm.
Um, but I'm very happy. It gives me such a sense of belonging, that I belong to Sattika. That Sattika is something that belongs to me, and it's a feeling that I've also somewhere been able to uh, empower the weavers that I'm working with, which is very important. It is very important. After all, there's a chain. One more thing which has been a huge takeaway from my journey with Satika is that today, my own help, who's with me 24 by 7, and who's my help at home, who's my Didi, who's really my backbone, is the one who makes my Instagram reels.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wow. Hmm.
Meena Didi is the one who does my photo shoots.
Hmm.
She's the one who tells me, दीदी लाइट नहीं ठीक है, दीदी इस एंगल को करो, दीदी प्लीट को ऐसे करो, दीदी उस एटीट्यूड से स्माइल करो.
Wow.
She has
Wow.
learned the whole knack of making these videos, and she tells me that she at one day is going to become in her own little circle an influencer, because she
Oh,
has
wow.
actually learned the knack of mixing the videos, putting the right music. She's the one who does that. I don't have a social media agency, Sangeeta.
Great. Great.
So somewhere there is this girl who has also learned with me, who has
Hmm.
grown with me, who has understood in an exhibition how the display has to be done.
Hmm. Hmm.
So there is a lot of growth that has happened with her as well.
Yeah.
So Satika today is also so much my Meena Didi as it is me. And I do feel just so happy that she also takes so much of an interest in Satika.
But I'm sure, Radhika, with the way you've spoken about her, I'm sure there would be so many women out there who would not even want to make a mention of
Yeah.
someone like her, who's helping out, because they would say that, no, I'm doing it, and
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
wanting to take the entire credit themselves. But the
Yeah.
fact that not only are you giving that credit to her, you're openly acknowledging her contribution. And of
Absolutely.
course, you must be, how should I say, giving out those vibes to her where she also gets that sense of ownership and belongingness. So, which is where
Absolutely.
all the motivation for her also comes. So,
Yeah,
again, I think
absolutely.
kudos to you for doing this.
Thank you. And another thing which really makes me really happy is when I see women in Satika, and Sangeeta, you're one of them. I mean, I know that there is a lot of Satika in your cupboard, and I feel
Yes,
so full of gratitude. And the appreciation that, okay, fine, they can also trust and rely. I mean,
absolutely.
that's huge, because a good positive word of mouth, in terms of that you can trust the person with the quality, with the fabric, with the pricing, with the delivery, with the timeliness. Everything is so important. So all these aspects come together to bring a proper journey to its final
Absolutely.
conclusion.
No, no, absolutely. This is the credibility that you have built over the years. That's a result of this. So now we come to this moment of deep resilience, and I want to talk about this experience that you had. So recently you went through a life-threatening experience after being mauled by a pet husky when you were walking in your condominium. Something that could shake anyone deeply. Yet, not only did you recover, you chose to go back and meet that dog. So tell me, what shifted within you at that moment, and what did that experience teach you about fear, healing, and forgiveness? Because believe me, I would not have been able to do that.
When when I do think of that incident, the initial, there is, your palms do become a little wet, and you have that because it kind of comes back as a flash.
Yes.
It was very hard. It was a very, very hard time. When I became better and I went back to my walking, it was a conscious decision that I made to again come eye to eye with the dog, with
Okay.
that pet husky.
Hmm.
That was a husky, the pet husky, who I've always admired.
Hmm.
Every time I would cross him earlier, I would just look at him from a distance and say, "How gorgeous are you?" And actually, a very gorgeous dog, you know. And I would be like, "Wow, look at those eyes, look at that mane, his fur." And I would always admire. And I'm like, he hasn't changed. He still is as gorgeous, as he was earlier. I decided that if I really want to free myself of the fear uh, of the situation or what has happened, there is nothing better than forgiveness. And I need to forgive. I need to forgive the situation.
Hmm.
I need to forgive the fear that I was carrying in my heart. And I need to somewhere forgive the act that happened.
Hmm.
Because he's an animal. He went by his instinct.
Hmm.
Yes, he attacked me. Now, I did reflect what was the trigger in that child's mind that he attacked me. Something led him to attack me, and they only know that in terms of an instinct to
Yeah. Yeah.
to help themselves or to protect themselves. They don't know any other way. So something must have triggered, whether it was the color of my neon shirt that I was wearing that evening when I was walking, or I was, ferociously talking to my friends with my arms being thrown in the air while I was walking, oblivious to him, completely oblivious to him. So something, and the next thing I knew that I was on the road, and bitten all over.
Hmm.
But I did realize that uh, there must have been something in that boy, in that dog. He's a boy, he's a child. After all, he's a pet. um, that led him to do this. And if I have to come out of it and gain my own calm, I need to forgive and I need to encounter him again.
Wow, that needs so much courage. You really have to be brave because,
And that's exactly what I did.
wow, I know that's what, and this is something I have not been able to, kind of get my head around that this really needs courage, Radhika. And I mean, I'm sure 99% of the people would not be able to do it. While we may understand, okay, an animal got triggered by something, all of that I may accept and I may forgive also. But to be able to go again
Yeah.
and meet the dog,
Yeah.
that really needs courage. And yeah.
And it's funny, it's ironical, but till date, it's been now 7 months. It was in July when this happened. We are in end of April now. Yeah, 8 months. Every time I walk, so his name is Frosty, he will see me from a distance and he'll go down on his fours and he'll just stare at me. And the people that I'm walking with, Radhika, turn your side. Don't look at him. I'm like, he's making a contact with me. He understands me. He probably knows that he did do me some harm and he's making a contact. I don't go near him anymore. I'm being honest with you. I do not. But from a distance, I will just turn around and say, "You're a good boy. You're a good boy." I always do that. I always do that. And he looks at me from a distance. And if I cross him, he will be turning back and he'll be looking at me.
Yeah,
Somewhere,
he
probably he
understands
understands. Yeah.
probably that
Yeah.
something he
Yeah.
did something wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, but I think forgiveness is really the key here. Otherwise, there's no other way that you can actually regain your calm. There is no other way. And that you can
Always
become, yeah,
about.
and you have to just take it as yet another experience, which,
Yeah, I
you
guess
know,
you have
which
to
gives
move
you a
on.
learning, to just move
Yeah.
on. Yes. Yeah.
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 So Radhika, now something very interesting. From being a professional and then an entrepreneur, and then to planning your son's wedding personally, so personally. So, how do you balance all these various roles by staying true to yourself? I mean, these are so many different things. I mean, while, working for someone, then working for yourself, and in between, in a world where everybody is, like just looking for wedding planners and people to delegate all of those wedding related tasks to, you managed everything on your own. So again, enterprising, I mean, the organizing ability, the ability to take on any kind of a challenge. That's what it is, according to me. But of course, more from you.
So I think somewhere, of course, Rishabh's wedding uh, was part of my creative pursuit journey. Let me put it that way,
Okay.
uh, which I uh, which I very carefully wanted to execute. Um, of course, and I remember teasing the boys right at the beginning. Make sure that your mom is given a chance to do a solo performance,
Okay.
in part of the whole thing. And my boys were like, "Mom, you," and wanting to just take center stage. So jokes apart. So uh, yes, it was something that I wanted to do, of course, with help of Rajiv completely. It was Rajiv and I did that. I just wanted to enjoy the whole process of something which is so precious, something which is so special, something which is so dear to you. Getting your son married to the girl of his choice, and I mean, Tanvi and Rishabh. That I just wanted to be part of the entire process from from the scratch and wanted to do it on my own. Having said that, Sangeeta, it's not that we didn't have gaps. There were
Hmm.
gaps.
Hmm.
There were gaps which could have been corrected, which we did not think of at that point in time. But when we sit back and reflect, you get clarity. After
Yeah.
an experience, when you always sit back and say, all right, okay, this could have been probably done better this way, or this thing got missed, it gives you clarity. And that's also a learning.
Yeah.
Um, but like I said, I wanted to be, I wanted to be a part of my creative journey. It was more that really that okay, fine. I know what it takes to, design, get the clothes going for the children, the guest listing, the invites. So much so that Sangeeta, even the save the dates, even the invite, the music to that was all done by me on Canva. I grappled around with it,
Yeah.
but I said, let there be this whole personal touch that everything is being done by you, by us. We did have challenges. I remember just few days before the wedding, I was like, Rajiv, we haven't made those personal calls. We need to do those personal calls, which typically, your agencies do that, the ones who do your RSVPs. And I said, Rajiv, and we were like, all right, this is your list and this is my list. And I realized that this is where the big gap was because I somehow had taken so much on myself that I didn't get the time to make so many calls to, personally invite people. And Rajiv had to be pushed a little bit extra because he was like, ho jayega, you know how they are. So yes, like I said, there were gaps, and I'm not going to run away from, that at all. And I accept it, and that's a learning which hopefully I'm not going to, falter on with when the second son is ready to marry. But it was all about enjoying the journey in a way that really reflected my own style. Yeah,
Yes. It's
the
so
whole creative pursuit of that, in terms of
uh,
even the decor,
yes.
what I wanted at the function, the menu, the whole planning, sitting. I mean, yes, the decor was of course done by the people who were at the venue, but we sat, that this is what I want, this is the color I want, this is the theme that I want, this is the music that I want, uh, all that. So much so that even when the Bharat was happening, Sangeeta, I told Rishabh one thing. I said, Rishabh, we're going to have the DJ music at every single function.
Mm.
Let the Bharat be the Bharat with those guys in that red and gold uniform, that Ghia Mandi band from whatever. I said, and actually Rishabh agreed. And Sangeeta, that was just so special because that typical barat, which goes with that band walas, was something so different, and it was very very enjoyable, with those guys playing with those big
Yeah.
trumpets and everything, and oh my God. So I remember Rishabh saying, "Are you sure, Mom, we're not taking that DJ?" I said, let this be the way it is.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was just the whole creative journey that I wanted to continue, in which was a part of me, which kind of reflected what I stand for. And of course, it's not that I did not take advice. I took
Of
advice
course.
from
Of course.
family, from my sister-in-law, from my brother's wife, and from friends. And Rishabh and Raghav had their own thing, and Rishabh's mother-in-law and I, we are great friends, and we spent a lot of time talking together, and we decided to just go with the flow. It was very nice.
But beautifully executed. I mean, I was part of it, so I know, and it can get to be very overwhelming. I
Oh
mean, I have
yes,
personal
yes,
experience,
yes,
and
yes,
to take the ownership of the entire event. And
yes,
it's not only one function, there are so many. Again,
yes.
like speaks volumes about, the
Yeah,
confidence that, okay, I can do it and I will do it, and then actually doing it.
yeah.
That's all
But
you.
like I said, there were gaps,
There
which we
are always.
realized, and I'm accepting it, and we're going to improve on them the next time around. Yeah, sure, absolutely.
So tell
Yeah.
me, you're someone who continues to evolve across decades. So tell me, what does reinvention truly mean to you? And what would you say to women who feel it's too late to start something new?
It's never too late.
Hmm.
It's never too late. Every experience,
Hmm.
every milestone, every little setback, every little achievement over the years helps you to do what your heart seeks. It's never too late. It's never too late. It's about the intent being right. The
Hmm.
intent. Today I want to learn Zumba. Today I want to learn Tabata. I'm going to do it because I want to do it. If the intent is there, I
Hmm.
mean, whether my knees allow me, they don't allow me, I'm going to give it a shot for sure. I'm just saying.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's about what is true to yourself.
Hmm.
Understanding what do you stand for, what is that really gives you joy.
Yes.
And if there's something that gives you joy, go for it.
Yeah.
Don't hesitate, or don't reflect, don't procrastinate. Go for it.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
for it. And like I said, the intent has to be right. It's all about, so like we talked about reinvention earlier as well. So again I said, so to me, reinvention is understanding your true self and doing it better, doing it wiser,
Yes.
doing it more beautifully than you did it in the past.
Yes.
Truly that.
It is that.
It's never too late. It's just never too late. Yeah.
And I think it's all in the mind, which has been like, I mean, I think kind of used to get reinforced, but now the world is changing. There's
Yes.
older
Yes.
awareness, people are doing all kinds of things. So don't
Yes.
stop yourself.
Yes.
Want to do it?
Absolutely.
Try it out. What can happen? The worst that can happen is that you won't be able to do it, which is
Yeah.
fine.
At
Which is
least you gave yourself a
yes,
chance. That's so
absolutely. I
important.
completely agree.
Don't ever.
Yeah.
Don't ever.
So, Radhika, while we've come to the end of the conversation, we still have the rapid fire round,
Oh,
which is
wow.
by quick
This,
question.
this sounds like a coffee with Karan, Sangeeta. Are
Yes,
you giving me a coffee hamper?
yes, absolutely. Right, there's one right outside your door already.
Oh,
All
good.
right.
So I'm like the Kareena Kapoor and you are like the Karan Johar. All right.
Yeah.
Rapid fire round. Yeah.
All right. The first question. One word that defines you today.
Passionate.
Great. The next one. Something people often misunderstand about you.
Okay, now it is a rapid fire round.
Uh,
Um, uh, Personality.
Okay. All right. The next one, reinvention in one word. We've spoken so much about it. So just one word.
Truth.
All right. The next one thing that instantly makes you smile.
Color.
Okay. And finally, your signature style in 3 words.
Wear an attitude.
Ooh, wow. That is something. Okay. So, if I may say so, very insightful, very fascinating, and extremely inspiring. This journey is going to make people sit up and take notice and, like I said, get inspired. Because there's so much to learn from the way you evolved as a person, from that young girl who went to school to now a mother-in-law who's been through so many experiences, done so many things in life, constantly reinvented herself. I think there's a huge amount of learning from your journey. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Sangeeta, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this. And I just so admire that what you're bringing onto the table, talking to women from all walks of life, encouraging others through your amazing podcast. You really inspire, girl. And I mean it truly. And thank you for supporting Sattika.
Of course, always,
Really.
always. You know,
Thank
I love sarees, so we'll always continue
Yeah.
to do that.
Lots and lots of love to you. I've really enjoyed this. It's been absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the About Her show. If you enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more from where that came from. Our previous guests have shared some amazing stories, so be sure to catch up on past episodes. To keep up with our inspiring conversations and to never miss an update, hit subscribe, rate, review, and share the love. Follow us on social media for some great content, and don't forget to check out our website www.aboutherbysangeeta.com for stories that resonate, inspire, and empower. Know a remarkable woman or an inspiring man blazing a trail? We'd love to hear from you. Drop us a note at web.abouther@gmail.com and let's bring their story to life on the About Her show.